Yeah, now we're recording.
Okay. I love that every time we do this,
I say
you
now
have
we're
to tell me.
recording.
Yeah, you have to tell me. It's like your thing.
I don't know why I do that, and I'm
It's
sorry.
it's really funny. And I
No,
can
I
tell.
have shame.
I know, I could tell because you start to look down and you start to go into your deeper voice.
I have shame.
Okay, Rachel, you've been working so hard on your Australian accent. Give us about 10 seconds of it. Go.
Hi, my name is Ray. Oh no, I can't do it. No, there's too much pressure. I just went straight into a southern accent. No.
I know.
That was
Like,
so scary. No, it was too much.
You were doing for me. You were doing for me like
this
right
is
before.
Brightside with Mikey and Rachel, and I'm Rachel, totally terrified. Hello, so
Hi,
scared.
and I'm Mikey, and I'm loving terrifying
This
Rachel.
is the first time I've ever been on the microphone before. I'm really scared. Hi, hello, bye.
Also, this is a podcast where we talk about Lindy Hop and swing dancing and pretty much anything else we want to talk about. So Rachel is trying to do her
Wow.
Australian accent, and I think it's pretty
an
good.
Australian
It's pretty good.
accident.
It's an Australian accident with another person that happens to be a Southern gentleman, apparently, every
my
once in a while.
Ugh.
But for those out there who want a couple tips, just go ahead. Give us a couple tips of what you're working on.
No, I don't want to.
You were just
I'm
telling me. You were just telling me.
shy.
Fine,
I'm
I'll
so
say
shy.
it. No
Okay.
problem. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
Oh, you want me to? Okay, so you said that their inflection goes up at the end of their sentences, like they're asking a question.
That goes up at the end.
Yeah, and there was that's the only thing I caught. Other than there was some guy that was coaching you.
Yeah, so I've got this Australian customer who comes into my cafe, and my coworkers and I will talk in Australian accents to each other because it's funny because we're all so bad at it.
Yeah.
And it helps keep us occupied. And so she told him that we were practicing it, so he wanted to hear it. So I said stuff to him, and I crashed and burned so badly. But then, as he was responding to how bad I was just repeating the words that he was saying, and then
Right.
and then he was like, "Oh, that's actually not so bad."
So those are the tips he gave you?
Yeah, well, they don't pronounce their R's at the end of words like
Yeah.
ka
Yeah,
and ka and what other words end with an R?
well, just in general, they don't say their R's.
Yeah.
And they replace them with other letters. So sometimes they're when they hear, oh shit, I forgot what it was.
Here?
I remember hearing
They say
I remember
here?
hearing this they're
Ka,
it's
ba.
damn it, I can't remember. I think it's L's. They replace R's with L's.
I don't know.
Oh, sorry, no, with places that they fuck, I forgot it. Damn it! When I was going to Australia a couple years ago, I was like, you guys replace things with other things where you think R's should go, or oh no, they put R's in random places. They put R's in random places.
I don't know what you're talking about.
So
But-
they don't pronounce if a word like car has an R at the end, they don't really fully enunciate the R and pronounce the R. But when they have other words, they'll put an R in there, an R sound in there.
Yes. I know what you're saying. Okay, so this is one thing that I learned is when they say no.
It's nar. It's no.
So what they do is they start with their mouth open and then it comes around and then closes. So you go now, which kind of gives it that R sound without actually putting an R sound in it.
Yeah.
So you say
That's
nar.
That's it. Exactly it. It's the funniest thing for me is they've forgotten how to read the letter R, and they've started to
The letter
okay,
ah.
the letter A, and we're gonna put it in other places and see if it works.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll get you doing your Australian accent at some point.
That sounds good. Maybe not
So
today.
I'm still in Madrid for another 2 weeks. I'm counting down the days that I'm coming back home.
Too. I'm so
You miss me
excited
that
to
much?
see you. Yes, of
Oh,
course
shut
I
up.
do.
Are we gonna go have tacos or fancy tacos
We're going to go have all the tacos.
or brunch? How about brunch?
That too.
Yeah.
Yummy.
So I'm here for another 2 weeks. It's really great. I'm gonna be but it's gonna be bittersweet because I'm gonna be back in Southern California for a month and a half.
Yeah.
And the whole time I'm like, ILHC is happening, Camp Hollywood. I'm doing this gig in Asia, and I have to go out to San Francisco to practice with people. And so like it's still gonna be there, but I'm still gonna be traveling on the weekends. And I'm like, oh man, it's gonna be rough. I can't wait for Camp Hollywood because Camp Hollywood is just gonna be a party.
Ooh.
And it'll be like basically your first time there too, right? You and Brett's.
Yeah.
That's
It
gonna
will
be awesome.
be.
Yeah.
It will be.
Hopefully they'll finally get some good videos of their routines and contests this year.
Yes. Well, Brett will
'Cause
be the videographer, so
I love how you skirt around the fact of like trying to make fun of the other videographers that have been there before, but I will because I don't care.
I didn't say anything about anyone.
Yeah.
But I will say that Brett started working on a new promo today for ILHC, and he sent me a little preview.
I know. I just saw it too. He sent it to me too.
Oh, really? What did you think of it?
It was great.
It brought me to tears.
Easy. Oh.
I find his work so moving.
It should. Wait a minute. Hold on. Wait a second. I put in some work for a video for you, and you didn't say a goddamn thing about it on this goddamn podcast right here, right now. Goddamn.
What video? What are you talking about?
I made a GIF of you on the Swing Nation thing and saying Rachel's so funny.
It's so funny.
There we go.
It was really funny. It was funny.
I put in like a solid like 3 hours of work on that, trying to figure out how to do a GIF.
Really?
Again. Yeah.
It's not that hard though.
I
know that.
That's a lie, but that's a dirty, dirty lie.
That's just
but no,
lie.
I just remember I did it a bunch like last year, and then I haven't touched it since, and I had to like redo it on the Giphy website.
Oh.
So then, like, I made the video, like, I cut it down, and like, I made things faster, things slower to make sure it worked, and then like threw it up there, and then it just did it by itself. So it repeats it basically constantly. But it was so much fun to make because like as soon as I saw you guys, you and Brett and Manu didn't tell me a thing until it came out, and then I saw it and I was like, this is hilarious.
Yeah, it was really fun to make.
Yeah, and so when I saw it, I was like, I'm gonna make that a GIF. But like 8 months later, because that was at Fog City last year.
Game, are we?
Yeah. Oh, I'm in Spain. I'm on time here. I'm too early.
I'm on time.
I'm on Spanish time.
I'm on Spanish time.
But yeah. So I made that for you.
Thanks,
Rachel.
boo.
I made that for you.
Thanks, boo boo.
Yeah.
You so great.
If you don't. Yeah, I mean, sometimes, most of the time, pretty much all the time,
whatever.
all the time, pretty much.
Everything I do is for you.
Hey, so you just got an email a minute ago before we jumped on here. Can you say what it was about?
An email?
Yeah.
I did?
Yeah, about the music video.
About the Wiz Khalifa.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I just loved it. I love when you read it to me and you're like, this sounds like a dude wrote it. Go for it.
Okay. So I just got a submission or a notification for an audition that I could submit to. It's for a Wiz Khalifa music video, and T Dolla Sign. And Jackie is the lead girl, stunning from head to toe. She's irresistible to any man and catches Wiz's eye. She's an amazingly hot seductress and leader of the quote-unquote Barbie doll gang of high-end thieves. She ends up pulling a caper on Wiz in the storyline, looking for a superstar.
Oh my God.
Mikey and I were just chatting when I got the email, and I was like, this is such a dude thing to write.
It
rah,
is.
Rah, rah, dudes.
It is.
But
it's
seriously,
true.
dudes. Am I right?
It's 100%. It's like, come on, ladies. Like, this is a great chance for you to work with like amazing directors by the name of Fred. Like,
by the name of Fred. I don't. Fred probably is not the director.
No, it's probably just some guy.
Yeah, I don't know.
But if you need a reference, talk to Fred. He has a great couch in the valley.
Well, he might live in the valley. Who knows?
But you know what's fun? You know what's funny is actually Wiz Khalifa has just surpassed. I think it was Justin Bieber who. Oh no, it used to be Justin Bieber, and then it was Psy from Korea with Gangnam Style.
Oh yeah.
And then Wiz Khalifa just passed both of them and has now the most viewed music video or maybe even clip on YouTube right now.
Oh really?
Yeah. When I See You Again, the song that came out after Paul Walker died for the Fast and Furious 7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's been a long time without you, my friend.
Don't quit your day job.
And I'll tell you all about it when I see you
Yeah,
again.
just don't quit that day job still. Just really don't quit it.
Hey,
Really not.
Do I ever make fun of you when you do your voices?
Yes.
Okay, well, there you go.
Always. That's all you do.
But that's so funny. Is like that Wiz Khalifa thing just happened, and then you got an email for it. It's like fate. You should be doing it. People will see you in the Barbie doll gang.
Yeah, I don't really feel like I'm Barbie doll material. Like I'm not nearly tall enough or like top heavy enough.
Then you're a skipper. You're a skipper. It's fine.
You know, I'm
not all of us can be.
I'm more of a skipper.
Yeah.
Or maybe an Ashley.
It's Ashley. Who's Ashley?
Ashley was like the 11-year-old girl, but she had like really stylish clothing. She like came with a hat and stuff. And then they had a male version. His name was Todd. And my best friend had Todd and I had Ashley. And our Todd and Ashley were like dating.
Oh my God.
It was super fun.
Just threw up.
There's a little in my mouth.
A little bit. Oh,
okay,
God.
but whatever. I was like, 8 years old or whatever.
Oh, no. You're allowed to play with whatever you want. It's totally fine. It's just the idea of like Barbie doll type thing called Ashley and Todd.
Ashley and Todd.
makes me want to hurl
they
a lot.
have not chosen more generic names.
Yeah. I mean, we all know, right? We're all in the same assumption here that the names Ashley and Todd are pretty much horrible.
Oh, that is so mean. What if Ashley and Todd are listening to this right now?
Then you guys should go real quick to your government facility to change your name and sign that application. I think it takes like $35. It's fine.
Ouchie pants. Ouchie.
It's fine. So let's move on to the topic.
It's fine anyway. Little tip topic of the day is, so you want to be a pro.
Yeah.
Pro what? Pro basketball player. Pro basket weaver. Pro plastic maker.
That's a little bit adjacent.
We got it.
What are you're hawking professional titles now?
Yeah. You want it? I got it right here for you, baby.
Hashtag that hustle life.
Hashtag Wiz Khalifa. Hashtag success. Hashtag Hollywood.
Hashtag humble.
Hashtag humble. Hashtag seductress.
Uh-oh. Oh, no.
Barbie doll gang.
That's, you know what's funny is if you can read something that's sent to you, like that email, and try to put a hashtag next to some of the words, and you're like, oh my God, this is horrible. And it like works. Hashtag seductress.
Hashtag seductress. Good.
Anyways, moving on from that. So yeah, topic.
The topic.
So you
want to be a pro.
You want to be a pro. You want to be a dance pro. You want to be a Lindy Hopper pro. This came from a desperate search of topics for our show, but
that is not true.
I know. That's the first thing that popped in my head. And I want to say it. I'm not lying.
It's
what happened to Yes And?
I try
what happened
to keep
the Yes
Mikey
And?
on the shortest leash, and I try to control him as much as possible and manipulate him and micromanage him, and yet he tries to flail away from me, and I can't understand why. It truly is a puzzle.
Hashtag dog life. So this stems from a blog post written in 2011 from Mr. Nick Williams at swingnick.com. It says, so you want to be a traveling Lindy Hop rock star, part 1 of 2, which, mind you,
First of all, there's no part 2.
Actually, second of all, there's no part 2.
There's no part 2.
First
Nick,
of all,
I mean, come on.
There's no part 1.
Get your head out of your ass. We want the part 2. There's even like all these comments at the bottom that are like, can't wait for part 2.
Can't wait for part 2. Exactly.
What about that, Nick? What about
part
that?
1 was
what about that?
I mean, Nick, part 1 was really great. It was really simple. It was really easy to read, really straightforward.
But it was really easy to write.
Maybe you know what? Maybe it's like going to be
Is
like 10 years from now.
Nick? Is it laziness? Interesting. No, it's fine. No, it's great.
It's fine. We're just gonna
fine.
add that. We're gonna add the name Nick up next to Ashley and Todd, and it's fine.
Yeah, there you go. Nick, you're right there with Ashley and Todd.
Are you happy? Are
You happy now?
You
Are
happy
you?
now?
Are
No,
you?
it's fine.
No,
It's fine.
great.
I'm fine.
great.
It's nothing. It's nothing.
Well, anywho. So did you want to like talk about the little bullet points here of what he covers?
Give us the overview of the article, and then he's got some bullet points, and let's go over the bullet points.
Basically what he does is he breaks down the quote unquote facade of like the luxury of being a professional Lindy Hopper who travels. Who travels.
Travel.
Here's a couple things that he knowledge bomb drops on y'all. Number 1 is money. You think they got it? Well, they don't.
Yeah, it's you know what's so funny about the money part of it is that
Tell me,
like
boo.
I feel like when people see the numbers that people make, like one off, like in one event, if they see like, oh, this person made this much and this dancer made this much and this dancer made this much, people will go like, wow, holy crap. And like by the views that you get on YouTube and like the traffic you get on Facebook, wow, you must be getting a lot of gigs. And like the truth is like it's really not that much, like if that. I mean, it goes into other bullet points right here, but like dealing with promoters and dealing with organizers, event and festival and gigs, whatever. It sometimes can be a little bit tough because everyone wants to do good for themselves, you know.
Yeah.
Not every event in the world is making, you know, complete bank off of events. There are a couple in the world, but not all of them.
Yeah.
And I think one of the things you have to be, and there's many different ways to play this, but like my personal opinion is like the idea of money is that like you can state your standard, state your rate, but for me personally, I still am negotiable. Like here's what I would like to make for the whole thing, but like I don't want to itemize everything. Like tell me what you want, and then we will be able to put a number together that makes sense for that. And that's not always the best number for me.
Totally.
You know?
Totally.
But that's a tough part. It's like, do you do it for the money or do you do it for the glory of it? You know, like spreading your knowledge seed into the world.
I mean, I don't know. I feel very like torn about the money issue because like even if there is a Lindy Hopper who's making like $60,000 or $75,000 a year, and for like a lot of states and a lot of cities, that's a very respectable income.
Sure.
There's a lot of things that are not being accounted for, like you have to pay your own taxes, and as your own business, you have to pay a lot more taxes than the regular taxpayer.
Yeah.
And that can take up to almost half of your income.
Right.
You also have to pay for insurance. You also have to pay for a lot of your traveling. You know, like all of your costumes you have to buy and your clothes that you use for traveling and teaching, and you know, like none of that stuff is being provided for you. Whereas like if you have a day job and you're making $60,000 a year and like you work at a computer all day, a lot of companies will provide you with your desk and your cubicle and your computer, and you have a 401k and you have your insurance and you get paid time off and holidays.
I think a couple different things in the things that you're saying right now is it makes total sense for sure. Like, but I mean, every person who works in this world has to deal with taxes and whatnot, and deal with the extras that come along with having your own small business. Basically, that's what we're talking about here.
For sure.
And when it comes to money, like the thing is, and this is something that's like, this is the reason why I'm in Madrid rather than Orange County or LA or Southern California. The cost of living in Southern California is pretty high. Like if I moved more inland, I mean, you know.
Oh, I know. It's really high.
Yeah. And if I move more inland, like more to the Inland Empire and stuff, it could lessen and I could be living better. But like at the same time.
Okay, also you're living in the Inland Empire.
I mean, hit the fucking
nail on the
head. Exactly. So, but that's why I'm in Madrid. Madrid, living here in the city itself is actually half of, maybe less of a third of what it would take to live like in Los Angeles County or even in the city.
I mean, I mean, all that aside though, even if you are making, say, like $75,000 a year, very respectable income for a lot of cities. It doesn't mean that the work you're doing is always going to be worth it, or like what you're putting your body through is going to be worth it. Do you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, totally.
Because like the amount of man hours that you have to put into rehearsing and gathering your material and gathering the knowledge and the skill to do these things, and then, you know, to like teach the classes and working with your partner, and the traveling aspect that you don't get paid for, and the social dancing that you don't get paid for, or the judging, or you know,
Well, that's the thing.
running
That's
track
the thing
classes.
that's the thing is, and maybe we'll talk about this a little bit later. Like, what does it take? For me, my rate, and I explain this on like, I have like this little writer basically where I explain all the things that I'm expected to do, all the things that you get for this price. So I don't really like the understanding of like, this is what I charge for my classes. Is like, this is what I charge for all of my service
For my weekend.
the things I will be doing this weekend, as in like being social, being out, being judging, doing a demo, doing a performance, doing you know, in some cases contest coordinating, in other cases MC.
Yeah.
You know?
I
So
mean,
like, it's like that has to be understood as well. Like that's in the negotiation. And again, talking about another bullet point that's down here is that the promoters, or basically promoters and events, like I mean, they're not really promoters. They're organizers. They're committees. They're not promoting something for somebody else. That's a whole other word. But yeah. Anyways, the whole idea is like the clarity that comes in a lot better with a lot of the professionals that are doing this more on the road and full-time basis, are a little more straightforward. And we've all had to learn that over the course of like the last 15 years, where this is mainly this whole world of being a professional Lindy Hopper and going around and setting your own writers and rates and schedules and requirements and whatnot, has been being set up, is because a lot of us professionals actually talk to each other and we're like, oh yeah, what do you say in yours? Or what do you say? What do you ask for? Or what do you explain in yours? Or like, do you have any conditions? Do you have any things that you don't like? You know, things you tell people. Like, what are your experiences going through that? And a lot of the cases, like, yeah, it boils down to money. So like, no one really loves to talk about that. But the thing is if you have it straightforward enough as possible, where it's just like, here's what it is, makes it very easy. But again, at the same time, it's like, you should get over that, because this is some sort of business in some respect.
Well, I think in a large respect, it's a business. Like, it's so many people's livelihoods. And so talking about money should not be an issue. It's just business.
Yeah.
And that's it's a part of your business.
Yeah. It's one of those things where like, this is it's you can even say it another way. It's like you're being an artist.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's like, I'm sure at some point, like every great artist that we love, whether it be an actor, dancer, painter, sculptor, or whatever, photographer, director, any sort of actor, like I'm sure they all had to do something to pay the bills.
Yeah.
Not everything
totally.
is going to be the standout amazing performance or artwork or art piece that they want it to be, but like those things that you want to do to pay the bills, like will pay the bills so you can do your passion project.
Totally.
So anyways, the next thing beyond money is the traveling.
You travel all the time. You travel when you're sleeping, you travel when you're awake, you travel when you have your pacifier, or maybe sometimes you don't have your pacifier and you're like, oh my gosh, where's my pacifier?
My pacifier is my iPhone. Oh my God. If I lose my iPhone or my computer.
I just suck on that bad boy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, I feel so much better. My teeth are a mess, but inside I feel at home.
Also, for some reason, I have gonorrhea in my mouth. But traveling is true. There was this point this year where I was traveling so much through, I can't even remember if it was Munich or Frankfurt. And like I traveled so much through there, and I was like going asleep every time. Like there was twice where I flew there and I was like, I forgot where I'm going. Like I was looking at the signs and I was looking at my phone. I was like looking at my ticket and I'm like
a Fight Club moment. Like, where am I? Who am I? What day is it?
Yeah, exactly. You wake up in a hotel and you're like, where am I? Like, why am I in Bluth, Idaho?
I think that would scare me in some ways.
That doesn't happen very often.
Really disorienting.
It really is. It doesn't happen really often. It just happens to be like in the this has been really heavy this past spring and summer. So
I think-
like it
I
doesn't
think
happen very
that's-
often, but yeah.
Like for me, that's been one of the biggest things that has deterred me from pursuing being a traveling instructor more, is that like you have to be okay with spending so much of your time in an airport or on an airplane or
Yeah.
away from your home. And like someone who is married, like I don't want to spend my time away from Brett because Brett's the best. He's
Exactly.
he's the very, very best, and he
He's
keeps
just-
my entire life together. And
You won't-
if I left, I would just be a big old puddly mess. I would just be liquid on the floor.
So you won't do the Australian accent, but you'll do the baby accent?
Yeah.
All right. Priorities. But yeah, I mean,
Priorities.
that's true. That's true. Like your situation and the idea of like who you're gonna leave behind when you do travel, and when you do travel, like it takes up most of the day. So if you leave for a weekend event that's like Friday to Sunday, maybe you have to leave Thursday night. Maybe you leave Thursday during the day. Maybe you're lucky enough you have to leave Friday morning. But no matter what, if you leave Friday morning, damn, like that's early morning flight to wherever you're going, because you have to
Yeah.
be there ready to go by Friday night. And sometimes if they have Friday classes, like all those sorts of things. And then Monday traveling through, like the whole world travels on Monday,
Yeah.
whether it be for work or vacation or something. The whole world travels on Monday. So if you can try to avoid it, you try to avoid it. But then you have to stay an extra day in where you're at. That means you lose a day at home. And then if you have a next thing the next weekend, then you only have 2 days, because like really it's 3 days, but like really it's 2 days because you get there and you're tired. You have to do other things. You have to do your laundry. This is all like stream of
consciousness
like,
right
yeah,
here
just
coming
like
out.
because I've had to do it so many times. Like for instance, when I come back to Madrid in September,
Mm-hmm.
I'll have just come from China.
Yeah.
So I'll come back from China on Monday, and fly into LAX. On Tuesday on Tuesday I leave again. So I come in, I fly out Thursday or Wednesday of the week before, go to China, come back on Monday, and then Tuesday afternoon I fly back out.
You know
Madrid.
what's so funny about all this?
And then but wait, it's not done yet. Then I get
I'm not done yet.
It's not done yet. Then I have to go to Newark, and then from Newark I have to go to Amsterdam. From Amsterdam I have to go to Sweden, and then from Sweden I have to go to Madrid. And then when I get to Madrid, I have a half a day, and the next day I get to go to Rome. All that happens in the span of 3 or 4 days.
Yikes.
Yeah,
You know
and
what's-
that's like the best way to do it, like cost effective.
You know what's
and
so
everything.
funny
It's like,
about all this?
Hmm.
I've spoken to so many Lindy Hoppers since I've moved to LA who are like, ooh, I could never live in LA. The traffic is so terrible.
oh my
But
god!
like some of them are like international instructors who spend their lives traveling. And I want to be
Yeah.
like, but you're already doing that, but in an
Yeah.
airplane.
Yeah, and
Like
also
how many times have you had to sit on the runway for like an hour because
Yeah.
the gate isn't ready yet or whatever,
Actually,
you know?
You know what's funny is like I see all of the posts of people getting stuck. I've never had something that bad.
Really?
Like where people like I've had like really great experiences traveling, so I can't really complain. Like I think twice they lost my luggage, but I've always got it back like within a week.
I've never had
And-
my luggage lost.
Yeah.
I've never been like insanely delayed for anything. They did break a zipper on one of my bags once.
Yeah, I mean they throw around your bags like crazy. Like that's why you get the tough ones. But yeah. I mean, it's so funny. Like I live around Orange County, LA. Like it's fine. Like the traffic is so bad during the week, during the working times, and it's twice during the day. And if you avoid those times, which is if you're a professional dancer, you're probably not awake around those times.
Yeah.
You're fine. You don't have to deal with this.
Like it just depends on what roads you're on. Like you
There's
like
always a
just
way around.
avoid the 405 and then you're
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, or avoid
long as-
downtown.
Yeah,
in
as
the
long
middle-
as you're
in
not
the-
on
in
the
the
405, you're
afternoon.
good to go.
Yeah, pretty much. And then the next thing is airline miles, which is really weird. I'm like, okay, I get it, but he gets into the whole idea of like sticking with one carrier or one group. So in case all these
yeah.
cancellations or delays or bad weather or whatever thing or luggage, like
You get the
can,
special treatment.
Yeah, you get the special treatment, so like that way you're taken care of. And like that is very true, like to get hooked on one thing, but it takes so long. And back then when he wrote this, things were so much easier.
They were easier.
They were literally all about if you take 5 certain type of ticket prices ticket classes. They always have these like different letters, like S class, P class, L class. It's really weird. And then how many miles you fly in a year.
Yeah.
And now it's those two things plus how much money you spend on the website. Like you have to go through them. Like if you go through Kayak or like Expedia, it doesn't count.
You know what else I just thought of, which isn't on here, but is like having insurance in the terms of like events don't get insurance in case their instructor gets hurt at their event. Like if you get hurt at an event, they're not liable. Like they get like an overall insurance plan.
Yeah.
But like they aren't gonna pay for your medical bills if you get hurt.
Yeah.
Whereas like and there's no union to take care of you.
No.
And there's no union to make sure that you get paid fairly either.
But that's just like, let's say like having a small business of like a plumber or something where like you're like low and you're on your knees or you're on your back or you're in crouch positions, you're in dark weird places, you know, like you have things spraying at you and whatnot. It's like in that same sense. So like in some respect I understand, but like I think everybody still has to go through that.
But
like,
they've got workers unions for plumbers and stuff like that.
Small businesses, I mean.
Oh.
Small businesses are you still have to do it yourself.
Right.
You know, that's what I mean. It's like yeah, for sure. Like in like the majority of people's jobs are like that, like some kind of union or some kind of
better
job
business
security.
bureau, yeah.
Exactly. But you got to handle it yourself. You're your own boss, your own thing like that. Yeah.
You're your own boss.
Yeah. That's why Obamacare. Okay, so I mean life. So the last couple things right here is events, promoters and events, which we kind of talked about. Like, yeah, there's some other things that we could talk about more later. Life and home is one of the biggest things. Is like we just talked about, like why you felt like you didn't want to go because you don't want to leave. You don't want to leave Brediford.
I don't want to leave Brediford. Brediford's the best thing.
Exactly.
Unless I can just tote him around with me everywhere I go. He could be my personal manager.
Oh man, I mean that is the sweet deal right there. Like getting able to be like, yeah, you have to fly me and this person out with me. Like that's the only way you get me, you know.
Dude.
To be fair, honestly. Like I think like the professional dancers that have kids, they do that.
Yeah.
There's a couple that for sure that do that. Like they have to, like the newborns or whatnot, like attached to their moms, like for sure.
Totally.
But yeah, sometimes like I was saying in my kind of like scenario that I'm gonna have to go through in September is like I'm gonna spend one night at home. It's gonna be the best night ever because I'm just gonna be like, this is my last night home until December.
Yeah.
And then I get on a plane for the next week, you know. So I mean, but that's the thing is like you mentioned this before too, is like of like the idea of being in traffic. My traffic just happens to be up in the air.
Yeah.
But I also get to like the luxury of like having my computer or having a movie or having my phone in front of me.
And you're not driving the airplane.
Yeah, that too, exactly. It can be life-sucking sometimes, for sure, if you're like stuck and you feel like a sardine. But like I try to have things like doing this podcast helps. Like if like before I go, like we'll have a couple in the can, so that way I can edit it on the way on the planes, or like have little projects for myself, or write notes, or watch videos, or watch movies, or make up like stupid little video projects I can work on. Stuff like that is really important as a traveling person. Is like things to occupy your time. You know, for instance, like Mickey Fortunasque, like he fucking draws. He's an amazing I don't know what you would say, cartoonist, artist,
illustrator.
Like illustrator, there we go. He's a great illustrator, and like he's always drawing something, and so that takes up a lot of his time, and he can focus on it and doesn't feel like he's wasting his time because he has something to show for it at the end.
Yeah.
And with his new project with his cards and whatnot, and like he runs an event. He runs 2 events in New York. You know, like stuff like that is very important if you're going to be doing this kind of life.
Totally. Absolutamente, brah.
And the last thing on this thing is a gossip, which is really funny. Which is funny, but like it's kind of true. I mean, like, whatever.
Do you have a thick enough skin to handle the slam and slare that's gonna come your way eventually one day. Who are you dating? Or have you broken up with them? Your dancing sucks. Can you handle it? Can you handle it?
When you say it like that.
Your dancing sucks. I'm talking to you. Your dancing sucks.
You know what's funny? You know what's funny is that like that's what I was gonna go for. It was like not the private life stuff. Like who you dating?
Who you dating?
I could care less. Like people are gonna talk about that no matter what. But like it's the dancing sucks part that I'm like, no. Like that does get me. Like you put anything out on the fucking interwebs, it's gonna be up there. Like for instance, like I think there's a Korean YouTube. And the Korean dance scene is probably one of the biggest dance scenes in the world. And the Korean YouTube, from what I hear, is just riddled with comments. Every video that we can't see because we're foreigners, we can't access them with our IP addresses. Like they have like so much stuff to say, and they have so many opinions. Oh man, I saw maybe a little bit from a friend that was in Korea, and I'm just like, nope, I don't need to hear this. I don't need to watch this.
Like bad stuff.
All over the place, everything, just all sorts of comments on every little video.
I feel like, well, I mean, maybe it's just I'm not as involved in the YouTube world anymore as I used to be, but I feel like people aren't as like judgy about that kind of stuff as they used to be.
I mean, they could be.
Well, sure, they could be. They could be anything.
They could be. Yeah, that's true. No, I mean, as in like they can and they do, and I've seen some, and I mean, like for the most part, people in the Lindy Hop world, like if they have a bad thing to say, like they won't say it publicly.
Yeah.
You know, but you know, I've seen some things on there. I've seen some comments. You know, like that's one of the worst things. Like I know I shouldn't do it, and sometimes I'll like scroll down. I'm like scroll down. I'm like, no, why did I do that? Why did I do that? You know, just like, and it could be even this like a misunderstanding or like I read something and was like, oh no, they meant it like this, not like this, you know, stuff like that. So whatever. It's just one of those things. You just gossiping, sure, like just feedback in general. Like someone's gonna have an opinion about your dancing, whether you like it or not.
Yeah. The last thing that I think that should be on here, which is what I was actually trying to say to you before we started recording, that I was talking about how I thought that if Nick had written this same article today, excuse me, that it would have had like a different perspective. And I think one of those perspectives would have involved like being an actual professional, like being a professional worker in a professional workplace. It's
true. And like we've talked a lot about this, like in general, like
the way you write emails, the timeliness at which you respond to emails, how organized you are as a person. How late do you go to bed? Yeah, showing up to classes
up on time, prepared.
Well rested, not hungover.
Yeah.
And there was a long period of time, I think, that a lot of Lindy Hoppers didn't do that stuff, and it wasn't a big deal because everyone was young and everyone's an artist and blah blah blah. But now, like, times are changing, and those things are important.
They really are. Like they are important because it doesn't matter what work or what field you're in. To be a professional means you have to like hold yourself to a higher standard.
Yeah.
And in this case, like we keep talking about, it's like a small business. Like that's the closest idea we can have to it. And in this small business, you have to hold yourself and you have to make that standard. And the idea of making that standard is not just one thing. It's like you have to keep going to higher things. It's like being a dancer. Like, yeah, we're good. You may feel good at where you are right now, but like we always want to get better. We always want to strive and work hard. And just because you're talented doesn't mean that you don't have to work as hard as the next person.
I read a bunch of the comments on here, and one of the comments somewhere, I don't remember what it was, said that they were an organizer, and one of the issues that they had was that the instructors wouldn't get back to them. They'd ask them if they had dietary restrictions or if they had any injuries or anything that they needed to have special care for. And these people wouldn't get back to them, and they'd be like, well, how can I take care of you if you don't respond to me? And then they'd show up to the event and be like, oh, I'm vegan, or, oh, I can't dance. I have a hip injury.
And you know, that's one thing that I got from talking to so many other people is like, there's one thing that sets that all easily for everybody is writing it down, all the things that you've heard from every organizer, how much time you will work in classes, what will be expected of you of during the weekend. What do you charge for private lessons? Or what kind of classes do you teach? Who do you teach with? Your bio, your pictures, where can you find your videos? What kind of dietary restrictions? Are you allergic to anything? For my case, it's cats. Like I can't stay in a place with cats, and you know that. Like when I come to your house, I have to be very careful with where I sit.
Yes.
and like stuff like that. Like who do you fly with, and like what's the information you need? Like, what are the little things? Like, do you want a place with a door? Do you mind sleeping on an air mattress, a couch, or a bed, or like out in the patio on a hammock? You know, like
Yeah.
like I have that all written down in one place, and like that took me a long time. And even to this day, like this year, like I changed it again, where like I have to make it more specific because there's more things like, oh, I need to write that this, you know, like, or I need to have this information on there, like stuff like for like emceeing or DJing or contest coordination, stuff like that. Like where
Sure.
I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm being asked.
As your career grows and as
Yeah.
things change and evolve, you have to keep amending it to fit your needs.
Exactly. And so like that's the thing is like a lot of these people, I'm like, why are you still doing like, oh my God, emails, like, oh, I hate doing emails. I'm like, yeah, like, but like that's like the extent of your work, like as in a what should we call it, like in a more standardized way where like you have to write an email.
Yeah.
Like, come on, man. Like if they keep asking for the same things, just send them one thing.
Yeah.
Like for sure, like and whenever it gets closer to an event, like it always gets a little bit more crazier. Like you get like 2 or 3 or 4 emails like right the week of before. Like you're fine.
Also, I think a lot of things that a lot of people don't think about is with any very creative job, like being a professional Lindy Hopper, you're going to be spending so much more time doing administrative work than the actual creative work.
Yeah, you
I mean,
can.
like-
I mean, there's ways to skirt around it. Like if you can, like I've been trying to do that, like because I feel like I felt like that for sure. But I've been trying to read up on these blogs and like these self-help things where they tell you how to like work better, like set yourself these times.
Yeah.
And then like if you don't get to it, you don't get to it. It's okay. There's always tomorrow, but you'll have that same time. Or maybe
Yeah.
you have 2 times in the day, but then you take a break in the middle, like you go do this other thing or like whatnot.
But
There's
like,
this one thing that I.
oh, go ahead.
Oh,
Go ahead.
I was gonna say like to cut the monotony where like maybe I don't always feel creative and maybe I don't want to do administrative work, but I still need to do something so that to not let my brain go to gel and fucking disgusting is like pick up something new.
Yeah.
Like so there's this thing of like the 5 hour like to learn something new, like take 5 hours out of your week and do something new.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whether
Yeah.
it be like go outside and have lunch outside or like learn something new online or like read a book or like take an hour a day to like just do something different but that keeps your mind interested in what you're doing and focused.
Yeah. I'm just talking about how like there's so much like back end work that people don't think about, like
Yeah.
building a website, contacting people, promoting, writing up contracts that clarify
You know
what you
what's-
need and what you don't need.
You know what's funny is like you bring up a good thing is like I actually don't believe people need websites anymore.
Really?
Yeah. It looks fancy, it looks cool, but like
Yeah.
you can do everything on Facebook.
That's true. You can do everything on Facebook.
It's really easy. Like I have a website I had a long time ago. I haven't changed a goddamn thing on it. Maybe some words every once in a while, but I use it because I have a page. That's where I have all my writers stuff on a page that's unreachable.
Yeah.
So like that's what I use mainly for, and like to have a place where I can put high resolution pics and people can download them from, and that's about it. Like everything else on there, like there's a blog and like there's some stuff on there, but I haven't used it in such a long time. It looks fancy, but like all that stuff that I just said, I can do on Facebook.
I
Yeah,
think,
and
I
people-
think there's
people
a
go
couple
through a lot more.
advantages. I think there's a couple advantages to having a website. One, it makes you look professional, no matter who's looking you up. Especially if you do a lot of things in your local scene where you're doing like performances or teaching. Like, I think having a professional website is very valuable.
Yeah, no,
Um,
you're totally right. Like in that respect, for sure. Like performance wise, where it's like you are looking for people that are outside of your range of your normal group.
Yeah.
But for what I'm talking about is like I'm not looking. There's no one
You're just,
outside
like,
the normal group.
Yeah. You're in the in circuit.
Yeah. Like that's really truly the best way to do it. Like some people were asking me, was like, do I need a website? I was like, maybe just a basic website somewhere you could put up your biography, some pictures, and some videos, and that's
Maybe
about
a
it.
dance reel.
Maybe not even a dance reel, like it's a playlist on Facebook,
Yeah.
on YouTube. You know, like it's so much easier ways to do it. Like I don't feel like there's like one surefire way to do this. But like again, but this goes along the same idea. Is like it still is professionalism and knowing how to do it very easily. Whatever way works for you, do it that way. Like I found
Yeah.
a way that works for me. I'm not gonna say it's the best way, but I will like agree with you on like the sense of emails. Like emails is very urgent for people, and sometimes when I don't even get an email from people, I'll bug them and I'll be
Oh,
like,
yeah.
hey, do you want this stuff from me? And sometimes when they like don't get an answer to me, or like when they're like, oh yeah, that would be great, I'm like, great, there you go. You know?
It really bothers me when I don't get an email within the same day. Like if I send someone an email, if
Yeah.
I don't get a response within the same day, it bothers me.
There are some.
Because like how long does it take to write most emails? 5 minutes at the most?
No, not really. It depends. Like because for me, the emails that I get are quite extensive. Like there's a lot of questions and like I have to think about it. Like usually
Is that your
my
average email though?
yeah. Like I have to like
Okay.
write and I have to get it out clearly. I have to make sure there's like sometimes I'll like write it 2 or 3 times before I send it.
Okay, well, I mean, if you're writing
So
a really,
longest for me,
yeah.
the longest for me is like 2 to 3 days. The shortest
Okay.
for me is yeah within an hour.
I mean, like, if you're writing a really long and extensive email, then I am more understanding of that. But like most of the time when I'm sending an email to someone, it's like a few sentences or a paragraph or two. And I'm not looking for a long response in return. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if you have to write
Yeah, but
more than a few paragraphs, then I understand taking more time. But like if that's all you have to write, there's no reason why it can't be done within the same day.
it's true. It's true. What I'm saying is it just kind of depends on what it is, what
For
the
sure.
topic is.
For sure.
Yeah. So let's move on to
Yeah.
some of the bullet points we want to take away from not only just the website, but in general. Like we've already talked about a few of these.
Yeah. Here's the first bullet point that Mikey wrote. You think you got what it takes? Maybe number 1, can you dance?
Exactly. It's so
you
true.
know, if you can't dance, it might not be a good idea to become a professional Lindy Hopper right now. Maybe you could try chess.
Maybe you could try badminton.
Who knows? It's all up in the air, literally.
Can you hold your breath for a long time? Maybe swimming is for you.
Maybe try swimming. Are you good at dancing? Another valuable question. Are you actually good?
Or do you feel like you can be good? Because like that's a thing too. Like you think you got what it takes. You never know unless you actually try. Like apply yourself 110,000%, like as much as you possibly can. Like
Yar.
we've talked about this a few times here, and like I'm just gonna reiterate it by saying that I feel like a lot of Americans are stunted, not by themselves, but like by the communities in general in the United States. I feel like stunt that idea of like, oh, you want to be professional, like that's hard, like, oh, that's kind of a childish dream.
Dude, story of my life. Story of my life.
I know, like I think no matter what, everywhere in the world, people will say that, but I feel like in America, like they're like. It holds them back, and in some cases it makes us even better because as soon as we push past the whole idea of people telling us what to do and we listening to them, is that we listen to ourselves, and if we set our goals and we set our eyes to the prize type thing, it's that Rocky underdog story that we all love.
You gotta live your truth.
Makes us exactly. That's exactly true. So like you got what it takes. Like if you feel and you think you can do it, go for it. Like the first thing, what does it take to be a good dancer? How do you be a good dancer? You have to train a lot. You have to practice a lot. You have to dance a lot. You have to be open a lot. You have to have an opinion about things. You have to be open to other people's opinions and open to dialogue. Open to dialogue with your partner. Open to dialogue with other leaders, other followers, whichever one you are.
You also have to be open to rejection and failure.
I mean, absolutely. Especially when it gets, I mean, like, I didn't even get into that part, but like, it's like, there's so many other things before you even go into the contest part of it, which is where that mostly comes into play, rejection and failure.
Yeah. That part sucks. I mean, that never gets easier for anyone.
No, it never does. I mean, like for me, when I was a kid, doing contests.
When I
It
was just
awesome.
a wee one.
I mean,
Eons
13.
ago.
I'm a wee one. Same size
wee
head,
one.
different shaped body, oblong shaped
Same
body.
size head, different size
Yeah.
body.
So like when I was a kid and doing these contests, like it was super fun. Like I did these ballroom contests. Like I think they called them American ballroom. Like each one is a category, and they have like
Okay.
a certain amount of dances in there. And it was cha cha, rumba, jive.
Okay.
And I think waltz was in there too. And the jive one was kind of open. It could be like jitterbug, swing, whatever they called it in the ballroom world. And so we're like, cool, we got that in the bag. That's no problem. But it was all the other ones. But the pressures they put on us, like that was like so intense. You know, like me and my partner at the time, we did a couple, and we're like, we did well, and then we were like, but we don't like doing those. We don't like training and spending all of our time doing all these other dances we don't like.
Yeah.
So we decided like hard pass. We want to just do this one thing, Lindy Hop, swing dancing, and not have to worry about those other things. But you know what? Like it was really tough because we would do it with other kids, and like they would lose, and they'd be crying, and we're like, oh, that would freak us out because we're like, did we cause that? Did we do that? You know, like, are we complicit in this whole idea of like ruining that kid's day?
Yeah, I can't tell you how many times when we had Groove Juice special that we would put so much pressure on ourselves to be at a certain level of dancing or to perform a certain way or to behave a certain way in practice, and it would make people crack.
Yeah.
It would be.
It totally does.
It was too much pressure sometimes, and that's like that's something that you legitimately have to deal with.
Yeah, you have to prepare for it, and you have to try your best. I mean, some cases like that actually makes you a better dancer because if you can deal with it in the best ways, and it's a little bit different, that varies. That makes you a better listener, a better partner, a better a worker. You know, because like you're adding the emotional element into the training, like we talked about last time. The passionate and the obsessive. You know.
Yeah. Oh, totally.
So like I think when people train and practice a lot, like they use a lot of the mental game, and like that can wear on the rest of the body, and then all you have left is your emotions, and they can be super raw.
Yeah.
And they can be very easily like broken down. So you have to be ready for both. So I feel like that's a good way to be a human being and learn to deal with these things, because like when no one's good at it at the very beginning.
Oh yeah,
you kind of have to learn, right? So yeah, that's what it takes. Like that, you have to learn to be a good dancer. You have to learn to be a good human being. You have to learn to be a good communicator. You have to learn to count to 8 and be on time with music.
I think you also need to understand what you can offer the community.
That's true. I mean,
I'm not saying like, oh, you're the best solo dancer, or you're the only person who can do these aerials, or you do slides better than everyone else. Like it could be that, but that's not necessarily what I'm talking about.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like it could be something as simple as like having a good understanding of where your students are in class. Having a good understanding of how to communicate with your partner, or being well organized as a professional, or
it's in a different sense, because like I was thinking of it more of like the traveling, but you're thinking of it in the local sense as well. And I completely forgot, but I completely agree with what you're saying. Like understanding what you're good at and seeing if you can help out people, because like humans are nothing but good people with good intentions, but sometimes they need a little bit like help getting to one place to another, and a community builder can be really, 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 really useful for people that are ready to oh, we're gonna go that way. That's great.
I mean, it could be even something as small as like, okay, for example, I taught a workshop in Texas once, and I think there were like 4 instructors for the weekend. And at the end of the week, and we like all watched each other's classes and then gave each other feedback on how our classes were at the end of the weekend. And one of the things that everyone said that they thought that I did really well was I had a good gauge on like when the class needed to be slowed down a little bit, or when it was time to move forward, or when it was time to rotate, or like when it was time to just like stop and tell a joke.
Yeah.
And that's like, I think that sounds really small in a lot of ways, but it could be very important if you're teaching 150 people at a big event.
Yeah. Knowing how to take feedback, knowing
well, not even
how to
knowing
give feedback.
Yeah, I mean, knowing and receiving feedback, or like giving and receiving feedback, but also like, when was the last time your students rotated?
Right.
It could be something as small as that.
Just understanding that kind of stuff for sure. Like, I mean,
Class dynamics.
Class dynamics. So, like, what does it take? Like, understanding that you have a talent, working hard at the talent, having an ethic to it, commitment to everything, goal setting, the ideas that you are really good at one thing, but maybe not good at another thing, and understanding how to maybe help that out and identify it, and then being able to work it.
Even if it's just like having a positive attitude, or
absolutely
being a mature person, like those things can all contribute to the community.
Absolutely. Or, I mean, just in general, to making you a better dancer, a better communicator, which is, I feel like a lot of our dance is guiding towards in general. Like, when I look at other dances, like they're so focused on performance and outward aesthetics.
Yeah.
And we're so focused inward and how to make things more inclusive, and not just for people who already feel excluded from things, but just how to, in general, always feel inclusive, as in like, this is hard, this is easy, this is not unattainable just because it's hard, and this doesn't make it like crap because it's so easy. There's understanding from both ends of that spectrum and everything in the middle.
Totally.
And I feel like if you want to be a pro, you have to understand what that is for yourself first, and then you could start kind of translating those ideas out to everybody else.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think I winced a little bit when you said at the very beginning, it's like what you can offer the community, because I was like, gah! like only because I was like, I'm gonna be the superhero and I will save you because I have the key. Like, that's what I thought you were going for.
I have the secret to succeeding at Lindy Hop. I mean, like, if you do, good for you.
Yeah.
But that's not what I meant.
I've never seen anybody make it on the merits of somebody else. So, like, for instance, like if a dancer follows another great teacher or great dancer that they feel like, and they follow them completely, and they do what they do, and they just pick up where they left off or something, I've never seen that succeed for anybody.
Also, I'm just gonna say, I think that's gross.
What?
Just following one person and like idolizing one person because you think it's gonna like that's the key to making it work.
Sure. I mean, I don't know. Like, in some respects, like it'll work for a good amount of time, but it won't make you feel worthwhile to yourself, and it'll show to everybody else, because like all you're doing is going as far as the person in front of you. And what if that person stops? I think that's what scares me the most. Is like that like. I'll stop moving, and therefore I'll stop, breathing, So, I mean, to each their own. Like, if they want to follow somebody. Like, that's great, but like, don't think anything is going to come from it unless you put in the hard work and you make everything come from that. Like, for instance, like I always feel like this story has been told to me for like a long time. Like, Lithuania was like, they had one or two teachers, and like everyone danced like them for such a long time, and then like all of a sudden, like there was a break that these teachers didn't come one year, and then during that year everybody changed.
Oh wow.
Because they couldn't afford to bring these teachers in or something. I can't remember the exact story, but basically like they just stopped doing that, and they all took off in this other direction.
Interesting.
So it was really funny, but like again, it could be a culture, it could be just the mindset. It was ready to go, like, so copying, following somebody is great to a certain extent, but then you have to do something with it.
You have to become yourself. Live your truth.
Yes, exactly. And why should you
truth
was that Australian accent? Was it Australian accent?
No.
Oh, okay.
It was my regal wise accent. Live your truth.
I can't tell the difference, I was just going to tell you, work on it.
Whatever.
You're getting there. You're gonna get there. One day you'll get there.
I'm sure you'll get there one day. You're trying so hard. You're working so hard at it, aren't you?
Oh, yes, you boy.
Here's a sticker. It's a scratch and
Why?
sniff.
Why should you pursue it?
Because you want to. Hello.
Yeah, because but the thing is,
Hallelujah.
like
Live your truth.
but that's still not the still not the right way to think of it. It's like because you want to, like, of course, like no matter what, but like knowing why you want to pursue it. Like, do I want to pursue it because I want the fame and fortune? Fame and fortune?
Obviously.
Yeah.
I want to become a
Why
rock
not?
star.
Why not? Like, yeah, there's a lot of people out there that
I couldn't be in Van Halen, so I decided to become a professional Lindy Hop instructor.
But here's the thing: is even jokes like that are kind of a bad way to think of it. And here's why: is because like if you think of it like that, then obviously, yeah, you're comparing it to these other things. But if you want that sort of success, like, then great. There's a successful part of doing that. It doesn't come in a monetary status. It comes in the status of like, I've created something really great and people know me for that, or people like what I've done and therefore you are some sort of famous. But like, great. But if you want to like that, or if you want to do it because you want to pursue it because you think you have something very profound to say to everybody else in your works, whether it be the way you approach the dance as a teacher and the way you convey it, or the way the works you do in routines and the things you do on the dance floor, or maybe because you just love social dancing so much that you don't care about the teaching and the performance part of it, but you just like love the social dance part of it. And like for me, in some respects, that's a professional dancer.
Well, that's why I was saying that you should understand if you have something to offer.
Yeah,
Stuff like that.
Yeah.
Those things
absolutely.
are like what I was trying to reach at.
Yeah, and I agree, but there's still like an outward perspective to it, you know. Like I want the why should you pursue it to be like a little more internal. It's like not what can I give to everybody else. It's like, what do I want to do with this? Like, and for me, this changes from time to time. Like sometimes I'm like, I really want to focus on my teaching, and I really want to be a better teacher. So people I'll dance with, people I'll teach with, and be like, hey, like I want you to lead this class, or like, hey, I want you to like, what are you feeling on right now that I want to groove off of, you know? Or in other respects, it's like, how can I be a better performer? And like, what does that really mean? And like, do I have to do it like in such a way that like, for instance, the reason why we dance the way we do is because we saw it in video clips. And in video clips, you placate towards a stationary camera for the most part. And you want to do it open wise to them and like being on stage and being on these things. And I'm like, yeah, but we don't work in those
But what
fields
if I
that much
perform
anymore.
stage right?
It's not. It's yeah, exactly. But the idea is like, it's what if that manner of thinking worked well because that's what they had. But in our day and age, like there's so many different ways to think about things. Like why still keep it in that one way? You know, like if you can, okay, for instance, if a leader is on stage right and the follower is on stage left and they're in open position and they're about to swing out,
Mm-hmm.
their connected arm is upstage and
Right.
their open side
And
is
they're like
downstage.
open facing the audience.
Yeah, which makes sense because which would make sense because like you're open towards the audience for sure. But if you intentionally spin that around, where the leader's on the other end, the followers on the other end, and now you have your connected hand closer to the audience or to the main part of the audience or the judges or whoever the fuck the main part of is that should be a conscious decision. It shouldn't just do it just because like we jokingly say, like I've said many times, like perform stage right, you know, like it's a conscious decision to do it because like you want to make them see something else. It's not about seeing the front part. It's about doing it from the back end or doing it from this end. You know, it's wanting to change. It's wanting to change things. It's wanting to change things in performing that still make sense. It's not just changing them to change them.
I'm sorry. I've lost track of what exactly what was the point of talking about this?
If you want to pursue it, then you can pursue it in a way that you feel good about. Like you don't have to you don't have to follow a standard.
Oh, like living your artistic truth.
Yes, live in your truth.
Gotcha. Okay. I got lost.
Yeah. You get lost sometimes. That's fine. The cats are around. You start petting them. Don't think. No, it's not about that. I don't think I don't know what you're doing when your hand is like over here doing this off screen, and I'm like, I know exactly what you're doing.
I'm not hiding anything. They just aren't coming around into the camera.
Sure. But the thing is, yeah, obviously right now, down underneath you now.
No, I was just grabbing some cat hair.
Ugh, that's disgusting. So the goal that I was saying is like you pursue it because like you want to for your own reasons, is like you keep saying like your own truth, but like the idea of following somebody else, like we said a minute ago, like can be great, but then do something with it.
Breaking rules and breaking down boundaries.
Yeah, but like, and even more so in our dance, because like we always talk about the idea that we're not standardized, and we don't have these rules that other dances have, so we should feel free to break them.
And yet we don't.
No, we do, but people end up fucking like, why are they doing it like this? Why are they teaching like this? Why are they doing their performance like this? Why don't they switch it around? Opinions are gonna fly. Opinions are gonna be ready. Are gonna be fucking ready to shoot at you. Who cares? As long as you do it for a certain reason, you do it for your, as you say,
live your truth.
There you go. Exactly.
Living your truth.
And so now we're going to get into the kind of other end of the spectrum. The why shouldn't you do it?
Maybe you aren't good enough.
I mean, you're full of like the easy answer right now. You're like, A, you're not good enough.
Maybe you don't want to.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe it's not your truth. Is it?
If you can't,
is it?
If you can't live without a significant other, if you can't understand the dance in multiple ways, if you can't convey it to other people, if you can't show the express or love,
if you can't handle not being famous and fortunate, maybe it's not for you.
If you can't if you can't handle the YouTube descriptions or YouTube comments, then maybe you shouldn't do it.
Yar.
If you can't swing out to jump at a Woodside, then maybe you shouldn't do it.
300 beats per minute, maybe you shouldn't do it.
Yeah, maybe you shouldn't.
If you can't handle administrative work and answering emails in a timely fashion, maybe with a professional signature at the bottom, no quotes.
All these are the reasons that Rachel didn't do it.
Yeah. You know why I didn't do it?
Why didn't you do it?
You know why? Okay. You know why I really didn't do it?
Why didn't you really do it?
I didn't want it enough.
Yeah. You think so?
That was like, yeah. And that's like a hard thing for me to tell to myself, because it's like self-sabotage, or like, not even self-sabotage.
Expand on it, because like that's like the easy way out. Why, like that implies that you wanted something else more.
Yeah.
Or you thought you wanted something and then you didn't want to work for it.
Yeah, I think that I wanted it, but I didn't want to put in. I didn't want it no matter what. Like I wasn't willing to put in 8 hours of work every day by myself. I wasn't willing to do all this work and not reap the rewards quickly enough. Do you know what I mean?
Sort of.
Like, okay, for example, since I've started pursuing acting, I've probably gone on like 30 auditions.
Right.
I've booked one thing off of those 30 auditions.
Yeah.
I don't know when I'm going to book my next gig.
Right.
But I'm still going on all of those auditions, and I want every single one of them.
Yeah.
And
you know what's
I may not book something for years.
Yeah.
But I still want to do it. I wasn't willing to do that in Lindy Hop.
Yeah. And there's a lot of people who feel like that, and that's the funny thing is like I was just talking to someone the other day on Facebook chat about like how the correlation of what you said, like the auditions. Like it's like, hey, they were asking like, hey, how can you put me in touch with people, organizers that maybe can help us out, or throw a gig our way? And I'm like, sure, but like, why don't you just contact them yourself? Like my I've tried for many years to like pump other people up, and it works. Sometimes, most of the time, it doesn't.
Yeah.
Because they know what they want. But other
Yeah.
times is like, it's like if you straight up go up and ask them, yeah, ask them for a job for sure. If you want to do that, like it's for me, it's like it's an audition, because it's in the sense or applying for a job in the sense of an interview, where like
Yeah.
sometimes people will hire you on the spot because you're like, wow, you on paper you look great, I'm gonna take a chance on you.
Yeah.
And other times it's like an audition or interview situation where it's still up to them. So
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, you're asking, or more or less you're putting the ball in their court and letting them know that you're there. And if you are willing to hustle for it, like this is what you're doing with the audition stuff, you're willing to hustle for it, and you don't know when the next gig is going to come up, then, and you want to do it, you want to pursue this thing, acting or dancing or teaching or whatever, is like, you have to put yourself out there. Like I remember like hanging out with a bunch of professionals, well, sort of professionals, teachers at a dance event one time. I will not say their names. They were all like shitting on somebody. They were like, "Oh yeah, he asked for this. Oh man, if I ever have to ask for a gig, I'm like, ugh." And I just stayed quiet because at the time I didn't feel very confident in myself.
Yeah.
And so I was like thinking to myself, I'm like, I do that. That's how I got this gig. Like that's crazy. And for a while, like I was like, shit, like maybe I shouldn't do that. But then I was like, no, what the fuck? Like to do this thing that I wanted to be doing, which is teaching and dancing, and performing and doing this stuff professionally, like I have to put myself out there. And sometimes that does mean that like I have to like email somebody, or maybe a cold call email. Like it'd be like, hey, I'm gonna be in this area from this time to this time. Do you want to work with me? It's up to you. If you say no, no problem.
Yeah.
I'll ask somebody else, or maybe I won't work that weekend.
Yeah.
Or if you are interested, it's up to you. Let's work together. Let's see what
Yeah.
happens. You know, like, and that to me is nothing short than going to applying to jobs or going to auditions.
Yeah. 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 And like, okay, here's a big one for me, for example, is I haven't had a partner to work with.
Right.
I've inquired to a few people. Some have shown some interest and haven't followed through. Others have not shown any interest. And the thing that I have not been willing to do is to find a younger dancer or a less experienced dancer than me and bring them up to my level.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that could very well be an option, but I don't want to do that.
Yeah, of course. And that's the funny thing is when you keep saying, it's like, do you want to do it? Why should you pursue it? Do you want to? Like, you know, like what drives you? Does it drive you? Like, it's just like the simple ask. Yeah. And like, it's a funny thing right here. It's like you admitting it and is very, very, and being honest with yourself. Like, I'm sure is a very difficult thing, but like at the same time, it's very good. It's kind of liberating. You're like, oh, it frees up my like anxieties and like sadness of like this thing that never happened, and like I'm able to like free it up and go, oh, okay, I can put my energies into this thing, which for you right now is the acting stuff.
Yeah.
And that's so fucking cool. And like that's what I'm saying. It's like, why do people like shit on one thing and then like don't shit on another thing, which is the exact same thing and the exact same process? Like you're putting yourself out there for the world to see, the world to have
it's
an
so
opinion
funny
on
that you say that, because like I've told a lot of Lindy Hoppers now that I'm pursuing acting, and a lot of them are like, oh, I could never pursue that. But they're Lindy Hop instructors.
Yeah.
Who are trying to teach. Who are like putting themselves out there in the same kind of way.
Yeah, but I think for most of the people maybe you're talking to, like they're not like trying to go for 100%. They just have it as the side thing.
Yeah.
It's for me it's like the same correlation could be made to be like, why did you go to college and spend all that fucking money just to have this job that you like, or you say you like, but also you have this other side job where you're like, oh my God, this is where I feel alive. Oh my God, I wish I was doing this all the time.
Yeah.
You know, like the dancing thing, you know?
I mean, there are a few different aspects to auditioning as an actor as opposed to like quote unquote auditioning as a dancer.
Sure.
Like I am constantly auditioning for strangers, and I don't know what they're going to be asking of me when I go into the audition room, and I don't know who anyone else is when I'm at an audition, and I don't know what their skill level is, as opposed to the Lindy Hop world is so much smaller. Like, you know who you're talking to most of the time, or you've at least heard of them, and like the stakes may not feel quite as high, and you know, like, all the other instructors, or at least you can like look them up quickly on YouTube and be like, oh yeah, I recognize them, or
Sure,
this is what their dancing looks like.
Yeah, but we're talking about people that aren't a pro and that are trying to be professional, and so therefore they are feeling more like the people like auditioning. Not in the same respect. Not in the same respect. You did bring up a good point of like, oh, I don't know what they're gonna ask me to do when I get in there. Obviously, yeah. But like for the most part, like a lot of these people are like, how do I become to that level? How do I get more gigs? How do I work more, basically? How can I get a job? Like, it's like just like everything else, you have to apply for a job. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. Some people have it really great where they're so talented and they do these contests, and they do these performances, and they go up on YouTube and they get fucking millions of views and whatnot, and it's great, and people go, wow, look at that number, I should get them to my event. Sometimes that's great, but the thing is like, this is why we have this world we live in right now, like this Lindy Hop community, is because people started with Frankie, and they're like, wow, look at him. Oh my gosh, look at that views. Look at how amazing he is in these videos. Let's get him to my insert community name here, scene is here, and then let's do that. Yeah, okay, cool. Oh, but like there's so many people, we can't have them all in one room. Oh, why don't we get another teacher here?
Yeah.
That's the thing is like we're going to have so many people because they want to take lessons with these people, or they want to take lessons in general. They don't even care who's there. Yeah. And now they have a lot more students. And of course you don't want to throw people away and be like, no, sorry, we don't want your money. Your money's no good here. Go away. Yeah. No, you capitalistic society going, yeah, for sure. Okay, but that means we have to find another venue. That means we have to find another teacher. There's always going to be space. There's always going to be a space. Like there's nothing wrong with you wanting to do it. Now, the things of why you shouldn't do it or what are the downsides is sometimes you never know when your next gig is going to come up. Yeah. Sometimes you never know if it's going to work out. Sometimes you never know if you're going to have enough money. Yeah. Sometimes, I mean, but these are normal things that happen a lot of the times. Again, when I go back to the idea of how do you want to be a pro, you have to think of it as a small business. As a small business, you have to grow it, or like a startup. Like, you're going to fucking lose some money and you're going to be eating ramen for a long time.
As someone who owned my own business with like a small amount of overhead, but like felt like a lot of overhead for me.
Of course.
There were months where I was shaking in my boots, afraid that I could not pay the bills.
And that's the truth, man. That is what happens.
Most of the time I would put on like a happy face to everyone who was coming to the dance, or anyone who was like, oh, how's rhythm going? I'd be like, it's so great. But inside I'd be like scared shitless, you know?
I don't know if I'm going to eat. I have to cut off my big toe and feed it to a guy that's going to give me $100.
Pay my rent this month? Yeah. Like, it's the second and I don't have enough money.
Yeah. And that is the downside of it, is that like sometimes you're not going to know if it's going to work. And you're going to doubt yourself a lot. And sometimes that could take emotional and physical tolls on it. And we already talked about the physical and emotional tolls that come in working with a partnership sometimes, you know? Yeah. So you got to be ready for that. Or if you're not willing to do that, then maybe don't do it. Have it be your fun thing.
While we were having this discussion, I got an email from my agent's assistant. Yeah. Asking if I wanted to be submitted to a new game show. It's not titled yet. Okay. I don't know anything about the game show, and I haven't even received the audition to be on the game show. They were just asking me if I wanted to be submitted for the game show. It shoots in the Virgin Islands, and the winning team gets $1,000.
It's the new version of the Bachelorette and the Bachelor Island thing.
I hope so. Because I'm going to fuck shit up.
That sounds horrible. But yeah, I mean, you know what's funny? Huh? You know what that really... This gets me like... I just had this brainstorm. Like, it just like... flooded.
All of a sudden.
Tell
Tell me, boo.
Lindy Hop agency.
That's what I'm talking about. Maybe
that's what
I'm
maybe
saying.
There should be. Maybe there
Like,
should be like a little database that people like, hey, do you need instructors? Like, here's this and here's reviews on them, and like you choose. Or like here's where they're going to be.
Yeah.
You know, stuff
That's
like
what I'm
that. Like
talking
where it's
about.
just really easy.
There is a level of like unsafety and insecurity out there for professional Lindy Hoppers. Like, my agent is there to not only help me get jobs, but to make sure that I'm being paid fairly and that I'm being treated fairly on set, because I am not in a union and no one has to treat me to a certain standard because I'm not protected by the union. So she is there to protect me. She's getting a degree in law so that way she can read all these contracts know inside and out, you know, whether or not I'm being treated fairly.
Yeah. You know what the funny thing is like that's the cool thing is like I don't think our community will ever get to the level where they have to get like lawyered contracts.
Yeah.
I've had this much ideas of contracts and the way legal process works. What we do in emails is basically legally blinding. Like, because like the law is so open, like, yes, there's rules and laws and definitely things set in place, but it's so open to interpretation, especially when it comes down to these emails, these things written down, that's what they'll mean. Like, they'll take that for the evidence, and that's what was meant, and this is how you said it, and this is how you meant it, but this is how you said it, so that's what we're taking into consideration here, not what you meant is what you wrote. Anyways, but yeah, that gives me a whole nother brainstorm. I mean, maybe we'll talk about it another time. The Lindy Hop agency. You looking for instructors? We got them.
Yeah.
You want them? We got them.
15% per gig.
Not even that. Like, fuck, man. Like,
dude, that's what I pay my agent.
I know. Like, but that's the standard. Like, I wouldn't even do that. Like, I'd just be like, give me $100 if you get the gig. Like, that's it.
That would be like 10%, 7%.
Yeah, maybe something around there. Yeah. Probably a little bit more, not
12%.
$1,000. $1,000 is usually about the mid range, I think, for a lot of teachers out there. But I think it's lowered actually. My understanding of it is really I mean, whatever, it happens. But I think my understanding of it now is probably around the 700 to 800.
Yeah,
I
only say bummer because it sucks that as an artist you can't live a good quality life. Do you not? I think you can. Of, like, being able to make ends meet and like.
I think you can. I think it's totally possible. But you have to hustle. You can't just rely on the weekend gigs. Like, that's why I'm here in Madrid.
Yeah.
Is because I have weekend gigs and I have working during the week, and like they have a school here. Where in the United States do they have a one place where it only does swing dancing? Like, the only ones I can really think of is like Lindy Loft. And it's barely a school. Like, they have nighttime classes, and that's about it. But the thing is like, but that's one studio that has like, it is meant for only Lindy Hop, and like they have schools out here, and Spain has a shit ton of them too.
Yeah.
Where they only do swing dance related stuff, like nothing else.
Yeah.
You know, so like in the United States, like that doesn't fly. Like that, I'm pretty sure it could fly, and it could be really well. But like, again, some of these mentalities out there are just like so downtrodden and so like fucking self-deprecating, where I'm like, you'll never get anywhere with that.
Yeah.
Like, you fucking tell the people what they want to hear, which is like, you could become like a better human being, and you'll get knowledge of something brand new and purely American in this dance. So anyways,
totally.
Anyways, we've gone a long time, and actually my battery is gonna die in like a couple minutes, so we can't take the last question. I'm sorry.
Didn't plug that in, eh?
No, I don't have a plug. How many times have I told you? How many times have I told you?
Interesting. You didn't plug
it in. It's like you don't
in.
even listen to me. It's like I talk
like,
and I talk, and you don't even listen to me.
Mikey just
and
doesn't even get it. Like, just go out and buy the plug.
When you hear them,
buy the
you
plug.
don't even understand
just buy the
what
plug.
the words that are coming out of my mouth. Like,
buy the plug. Buy the plug. Buy the plug.
I will buy the plug when I get back to the United States. So, sorry, but that question is gonna be really good. Actually, I just want to do the whole topic next time on that question, because there's so much to unpack.
Yeah, it's gonna be so great.
You almost wanted to do it. You almost wanted to do it, right? You told me about that question.
No, we've gone way too long.
No,
I'm
I
tired
know,
of
no.
talking to you.
No, I know,
I'm tired
but
of
no.
talking to you.
What's your bright side? Shut up. I hate you.
Oh, my bright side is that we didn't even talk about it, but my bright side is that for the first time in like 10 days, there's no one staying at my house except for me and Brett, and it is so nice and peaceful.
That's good.
I had friends here for like 10 days straight, different groups of friends.
Yeah.
And it was like chaos, and we live in a 1-bedroom apartment, and so there's not a lot of space for a lot of people, and it was just like very crowded and like messy, and like trying to host people while working and like going on auditions and going to classes and like feeling sick and like the whole gambit, you know.
So your bright side is I'm alone.
I'm alone, suckers.
That's awesome. My bright side is I get to come home in 2 weeks, and I'm gonna work my ass off, but it's also gonna be time for tacos, time for hangouts, and time for beach. Like I need a beach.
Tico taco, yeah. Tico taco, yeah.
Is that a thing? Is that a thing? What is
That's
that?
a thing.
Is that a thing?
That's a thing.
Okay.
It's a thing.
Okay. So thank you everybody for listening. You know where to find us on Facebook. Leave us your questions and comments because we fucking love them. We feed off of it.
Them.
We love
and
that
we
need
love
them.
you.
Well, that's going too far. I haven't loved anybody in a long
love
time.
you.
I don't know if I ever can.
I love you.
No, now you sound like
you.
now you sound like a Teddy Ruxpin that's losing battery power. Just
I
like
used
my
to have
Zoom.
one of those guys.
I mean, who didn't?
R.I.P.
You guys can also I've been putting up the videos online, which is really cool. Did you watch the last video, by the way, when we couldn't meet up, the lecture?
No, dog. I was too busy hosting people.
Check it out. It's really fun.
I'll watch it. I'm gonna watch it.
A lot of people has been really good. Peter gets into some weird shit at the end. Like the last 5 minutes gets real weird. I was like, oh man,
weird.
Oh man, the old man drugs have just kicked in.
He's a special dude.
He's awesome. He's awesome because sometimes he'll say like really great poignant things and just be like, I don't know, I fucked it, whatever. I'm like, what? What the hell just happened? You just said something so great. Yeah, like you just said something so great and so like, oh, there's so much truth in that. And then you were just like downplayed it by going, oh, I fucked it. Like, oh, whatever. Anyways.
Whatever.
And then he gets into drugs and all this weird shit, and it's really weird. Anyways, but it's really fun. It's really great. We talk about our experiences with the old timers back in the day, like Gene Veloz and Frankie Mannion and Norma Miller and Hal Takir, and how we
like
feel.
Brag about it. Why don't you? I mean, come on.
Yeah. And we totally fucking hashtag humble brag, like 100%. But like we talk about the things we learned from them and like take little quotes and try to apply them and see if we can tell other people like what we learned from them and what hopefully everybody else can learn from them, because for the most part, good people. For some of the part, not all around good people, but they said some good things.
Yeah.
You got anything to say?
See ya,
Australian?
Mikey.
Say in Australian.
Bye, mate. See you later.
All right, everybody.
See you later.
We'll see you later. Bye.
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 Bye. Bye.
Okay, no, really, bye.